guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name's Ashton, and along with my husband Jonathan and our son Jack, we're the Black Forest family. Now, politics is by far and away one of the most highly requested topics by viewers of our channel. So needless to say, this video has been a long time coming. But the thing is, talking about politics is often a sour business. So the only way I could imagine doing it would be to make it a whole lot sweeter. Now, I should probably mention that this video is by no means, in no way, shape, or form sponsored by any of these ice cream brands. Nor am I insinuating that any of these brands support any particular political party. I just picked them because I like the colors. Now, I realize this is grossly oversimplified, but I would wager that approximately 0.001% of Americans have any clue how German politics or the German federal government even works. So I thought that by making this video, we could not only help explain to Americans how Europe, specifically Germany, does politics, but also maybe help Germans to better understand the American political system. So let's grab a spoon and dive right in. Okay, so for starters, Germany has many different political parties that fall all across the political spectrum. It would be like if you went to an ice cream shop and you had 40 different flavors to choose from. Now granted, at your location, not all 40 flavors might be available, but generally speaking, you'll have around 20 to 25 or so to choose from. In fact, there's even a fringe ice cream flavor whose entire platform is built around making fun of the other ice cream flavors. Tastes like popcorn. Nice and cheesy. Now, the German Federal Ice Cream Shop can switch out its flavors every 4 years. But the thing is, they really only actually have room for about 6 or 7 flavors. So when Germans go to the ballot box, they vote twice. One for a specific district representative of their favorite ice cream flavor, and one general vote for their favorite flavor, which is then used to elect a party list in each state as established by its representative party caucus. Yeah, but see, I can already bet that I'm probably losing a couple of you here. So let's back up a bit and see what that looks like for the National German Ice Cream Shop, or the Bundestag. Now, obviously, with so many different flavors available, it could be pretty overwhelming to look at a menu of that size, which is why Germany has enacted a rule that if any one of the ice cream flavors gets 5% of the vote, they automatically get a spot in the ice chest of their ice cream shop. Currently, there are 6 flavors of ice cream that are available in the national shop. Strawberry, or the SPD, is currently the biggest bucket. Followed in a close second is vanilla, the CDU, mint, the Greens, lemon for the FDP, raspberry for the AfD, and cherry, the Left Party. Now, from an American perspective, all of these colors seem very pretty, but historically speaking, ever since World War II, the Chancellor of Germany has really preferred only one of 2 flavors, the SPD or the CDU. So in that sense, there actually is a little bit of similarity to the United States 2-party system. Historically in Germany, you would always have a big scoop of vanilla and a slightly smaller scoop of strawberry. But interestingly enough, this very last election, we actually got a larger scoop of strawberry and a slightly smaller scoop of vanilla. But the beauty of the German system is that there will also be smaller scoops of other flavors in that ice cream cone, like mint, lemon, and cherry. But without getting too overtly political, I should probably mention that you may want to be a little bit weary of this raspberry flavor because depending on who you ask, well, it might be toxic. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't necessarily mean that the other flavors don't have other various levels of toxicity. After all, ice cream isn't exactly healthy. But again, the beauty of the German system is that you have lots of different flavors to choose from, and depending on how you feel about different political topics, you can find a flavor that doesn't feel as toxic to you. Okay, so let's switch things up now and talk a little bit about the American ice cream shop. Now, technically speaking, there's nothing stopping them from having more than 2 flavors available. In fact, the very people who built the American ice cream shop intended for there to be many flavors available for customers to choose from. But the big ice cream companies, well, through politics, lobbying, and a heck of a lot of money, essentially today you have basically one of 2 options. Old white vanilla and old white vanilla with maybe a few rainbow sprinkles mixed in. And the thing is, they're both slightly toxic. Now, that's not to say there aren't people in the United States who are actively trying to seek to run a different kind of ice cream shop. In fact, there's always been a little bit of mint and even a little bit of raspberry available. So, despite there being independent ice cream flavors in the US, they most often caucus with one of the 2 vanillas in order to get work done, especially when the margin between vanilla and vanilla with a little bit of sprinkles is especially close. Like right now, for example. But the American and German political processes aren't all that different. After all, Americans must also vote twice, once for a senator and one for their district representative. But turnout for the national ice cream shop is lower compared to voter turnout in Germany, especially when Americans aren't also voting for a president. In fact, despite its importance, only around 50% of Americans typically turn out for their national ice cream vote during a midterm election. And not so surprisingly, Americans are especially passionate about which flavor of plain white vanilla ice cream that they happen to prefer. In fact, depending on which side of the political spectrum that you lie, you're likely to think that the other flavor of ice cream is the most disgusting thing you've ever tasted.
Ew! Get off of me! Ugh, as if!
And interestingly, American ice cream flavors may actually be changing. According to recent polls, vanilla and vanilla with sprinkles are more divided along ideological lines, and partisan resentment is deeper and more extensive than at any point in the last 2 decades. So it's likely that in the near future, America may actually have a raspberry tinted vanilla and a vanilla with sprinkles and pistachios. Now, you might be thinking right now, Ashton, but what if I like this new kind of American ice cream flavor from an ideological perspective? Maybe the added spice on one end or the other is something you actually enjoy. But there is one big problem we have yet to address. You see, in Germany, they have a true sundae, a bowl filled with lots of different flavors. And in order to get anything done, they have to form a coalition. They have to work together to get policy passed, and generally it tastes delicious. But in America, we're moving more and more towards a single scoop on an ice cream cone sort of scenario. Whichever party has the most money to buy its way onto your cone, well, that's the one you're gonna have to live with, whether you like it or not. Okay, so before I let you go and eat all of this ice cream before it melts, there's one last important thing that I really should point out. And that's the fact that what it means to be conservative or liberal is very different between the American and the German ice cream shops. Because the thing is, although I happen to label both the CDU and the Republican Party vanilla, they're actually 2 very different things. According to its 2016 manifesto, the American Republican Party lies far from the Christian Democratic Union in Germany and other mainstream right-leaning parties. In fact, it's actually closer from an ideological perspective to far-right parties like the Alternative for Germany, whose platform contains plainly xenophobic and anti-Muslim statements. Now, to be fair, the American Republican Party does not include outright bigoted things in its party manifesto. In fact, its score is pushed to the right on this scale because of its emphasis on traditional morality and a quote-unquote national way of life. Still, the party does include a lot of nativist, working-class policies that share a lot of similarities with the European far right. Parties who position themselves as defenders of traditional people from globalization and immigration. And ultimately, those who are fighting for more tolerance or even just a more centrist style of governance in the United States, well, the fact that the Republican Party lies staunchly right, and not just right of center, is actually a pretty big problem. Because you see, here in Germany, and really in a lot of European countries, alt-right parties are really seen as an alternative to the mainstream. Whereas in the United States, the Republican Party is mainstream. And by contrast, the Democrats fall closer to mainstream left and center-left parties in other countries like the Social Democratic Party in Germany. As you can see from this graphic, if we put every political party on the same continuum from left to right, both American parties are shifted considerably more right than the other German parties. In fact, I would wager that when looking at their political position, most Germans would probably laugh at the fact that American Democrats are liberal by their sense of the term, let alone radical left. Because quite frankly, in comparison to the left parties here in Germany, well, American Democrats really are, quite frankly, just vanilla ice cream with a little bit of rainbow sprinkles on top. But last but not least, it is also worth mentioning that the political center is actually far more left here in Germany than compared to the United States. Partially because of a lack of a true left-wing party in the United States. Between 2000 and 2012, the Democratic manifestos were to the right of the median party platform. The party has since moved left, but is still much closer to the center than the Republicans. And if you're interested in learning more about how all of these different political party manifestos, whether in Germany or the United States, were analyzed, coded, and categorized, I'll go ahead and include a link in the description to the Manifesto project where you are more than welcome to learn more. And guys, please keep in mind that the data that I'm actually illustrating in this video, well, it actually comes from 2016. This was prior to a lot of the far-right statements that was made by President Trump. So one could naturally presume that since this data was published, the Republican Party is actually further right than is what's shown. And to be fair, the current President Biden, well, he's been rated as one of the most liberal presidents since Carter by many publications. After all, he did push through a pandemic relief bill more than twice as large as the stimulus bill Obama signed to confront the Great Recession. So it is safe to say that in the United States, both the Democrats and the Republicans are slowly moving further and further away from center, a statement that is backed up by research from the Pew Research Center. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to offer up all of my neighbors a bowl of ice cream before all of this stuff melts. But before I let you go, I did want to ask you a question that I'm hoping you can answer and let me know your perspective down in the comment section. I'm really curious, wherever you're from in the world, whether it's the United States, here in Germany, or in any other country for that matter, how have you perceived political ideological shifts over time? And how has that actually affected political policy in your country? Please let me know down in the comment section. I really think this is a totally fascinating subject. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And for more content from the Black Forest family, hit that subscribe button. So, until next time, cheers! I think this video is the best idea I've ever had.
I'm glad I was invited.
Yeah.
We should do these types of comparisons more often.
I know, right? I want some of this one. I don't know. This is the only ice cream cone I can find at the grocery store. I mean, maybe it's like all for moderation.
It's like bite size, maybe.
I know, but I bet you could like. It's delicious, but I feel like this was made for like Jack.